Space. Dear Billy Lunarhead. You know, I totally missed out on this whole Jeff Bezos going to space and that dick-shaped rocket, which you know he did on purpose. Because everyone was going to say it was a phallic symbol anyway. So he's like, all right, let's give it a helmet. Lots of people are coming at Jeff Bezos for his trip to space. The common complaint is that he spent all this money going to space and that money could be used for people who need it. I think this is an uninformed bullshit stance. No, really? You're not seeing all these homeless encampments? First off, the amount of money it costs to go to space is 1/20th of the budget taxpayers hand over to our military to fund research projects to make better killing machines. Okay, but they're just saying he could have taken that money and given it to poor people. You're telling me if he didn't use that money to go to space, he would have just given it to the Pentagon? Or you're saying that his tax money would go towards that. Maybe that's what your tax dollars, maybe that's what you're saying. So for starters, the people bitching are actually funding a less productive venture while screaming blasphemy at the rich guy. Well, he also could just write a check, or he could pay the people at Amazon better money. Also, let's just call a hypocrite a fucking hypocrite. If you have Amazon packages coming to your house, maybe don't bitch about what the guy does with the money you gave him. There, right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the argument. That is a great fucking point. The amount of people that was shitting on him that fucking, you know, myself included, I just said pay your employees better. The poor people, they got to park in the middle of the street and run to your house and run back because they don't have time to do their routes. Not to mention that this was not a taxpayer-funded launch. Unlike SpaceX, which takes in huge amounts of taxpayer funding to stay operational. When my Tesla-driving neighbors stop me at the end of my driveway to bitch about Jeff Bezos' trip as if I give a fuck, I brought this fact about SpaceX up and was immediately met with, that's not true. Oh, yeah. That's what people do. You brought a point that destroys my argument. I'm not going to take it in. I still want to be right. It is true, Bill, but truth is apparently whatever you want it to be these days. All right, stop patting yourself on the fucking back, Mr. I'm so informed. Fuck these uninformed pile-on opinions. Their shit Instagram posts and tweets are just as bad as the cable news companies you've rightfully been bitching about. You know what? You win the argument again. All right, I like this guy. You made two fucking tremendous points. You're bitching about a guy and you fucking buy shit from his company, and your Instagram page is just as dishonest as those news companies. Yes, they are. I was saying that to a buddy of mine, how everybody now, everybody knows how to just take the piece of information that they need and then spin it. The hairy leg chicks are really good at it. My boyfriend is cynical. Yeah, that'll wear you down. It's great if you want to watch a comedian for an hour shit on things, but after a while, you need to go get a root beer float, myself included. Maybe I was depressed because I heard my act on Saturday night. Hi, Bill. So, I only know about you because my boyfriend won't stop talking about you, and he listens to you almost every other day. All right. Did I need to know that you don't watch anything that I do? I get it. You're not a fan. All right. I'm here to rant and complain about how cynical he is getting. LOL. It's upsetting because I've been the type of person who is understanding. Oh, okay. Let's shit on your boyfriend and talk about how great you are, and gets excited about life. I try to cheer him up whenever he's down, or try to be a lending ear when he needs to vent. Oh, but if you're positive and excited about life, yeah, he's going to wear you down. But he seems to have a vent and finds a problem for almost everything, no matter how much I try to be there for him and help. It's just getting so exhausting. He just turned 30 and can be so difficult to deal with, and I'm starting to think that he has some kind of mood disorder or anger management issues. All right. Okay, I see where this is going because I was this guy. And that's right around when it happened, right around 30. I don't know what to do because it's hard to move forward with someone who is constantly complaining and finds a problem with everything and seems to only worry about himself. All right, the way you describe this guy, you should break up with him. I understand that life has its struggles, but he judges and rants and complains about every little thing. It's tiring to be around, and I don't know what to do because he's stubborn and difficult. I try to be patient and understanding as best that I can. To be fair, he's self-aware enough to know that he can get like this, but I'm tired. I have needs too, LOL. All right, well, you seem like a fucking happy, cool person with a good sense of humor. I don't know how bad this is, but, it's probably some sort of childhood issue. And some right around 30, when you haven't found your dream job, you're not married, you don't have kids, you start to feel like you're getting behind the herd, and you don't quite know what the fuck's wrong with you. Because as far as my life went, my 20s and 30s was all about like fucking, taking out my childhood on other people and lashing out at people before, you get into your late 30s and you go, all right, well, I'm still sitting in this hole. Maybe it's something I'm doing. I would just tell him, just saying, listen, you're sucking the life out of me, and I'm young and I'm in my prime, which means if I stay with you, if you continue to be like this, I'm going to die earlier. So why don't you fucking go into therapy, try to turn that frown upside down, or I'm going to fucking leave. Because I do have to tell you this. You can't make somebody else happy. You can't. They can meet you and be infatuated with you and go through the initial stages of love. But then after a while, they're going to kind of be who they are. And, something like that can drag you down to where they're at, which I would hate to see that happen to you. And I hope I didn't do that to anybody back when I was like that. I'm not saying I'm 100% cured, as you can tell by this podcast. So what can you do? All you can do in a relationship is communicate to somebody what they're doing, that is affecting you in a negative way. You can also communicate to them, when they're doing something good too, ladies. But you can't fix them. So I would communicate what you're saying to me to him, see what he does with the information, and if it's not working for you, I would leave. Because if he's already acting like a fucking crabby old man at 30, what's going to happen when he's 80? All right, CNN and Fox News experience. Dear Billy Balloon Breast, I was listening to your bit on the podcast for the 19th time about CNN and Fox and wanted to share my personal experience as just how messed up the situation is. Oh, I love hearing from people that used to work for these fucking companies. In 2016, I was 17 years old. Oh, this is just going to be, okay. And was watching TV with my mom, stepdad, and sister after dinner. We were watching their favorite shit show news channel of choice, CNN. Side note, I had just enlisted into the Army and was set to leave for basic training that summer. Anyways, I can't recall exactly what the segment was covering, but it had something to do with fear-mongering about the conflict in the Middle East. Because my stepdad knows that I don't feed mindlessly off the bullshit that CNN and Fox News. I am, of course, on the outside of the clique, so he likes to use things like that to start up a fight. He questioned me about the topic, but to him the only correct answer is whatever bullshit the almighty CNN spews into their followers. One thing led to another, and before the night was over, he told me in front of my mother and sister that I would inevitably die in the Middle East because I don't believe in what CNN spews. Jesus Christ. Talk about trying to win the argument at all costs. After he realized that I wasn't going to engage in his stupid, pointless argument, he threw a punch, and I had no choice but to fight back. Anyway, what started as a stupid argument about our desired news sources turned into me getting kicked out of my house at 17 years old. I just wanted to give my story about how these news sources went from being important sources of information to a sort of team or country of their own, where if you're not 100% with them, you are against them and deemed an enemy of the group of followers they have. The modern era of news is toxic and needs drastic change. Yeah, not to say that back in the day, they were always spinning it, but it wasn't to the level that you knew who the broadcaster voted for, which is fucking insane. I mean, back in the day, you thought wrestling was real and you didn't know who the fucking broadcaster voted for. That was it. Anyway, sorry to ramble, but anyway, I love the podcast and you stand up and hope to see you at one of your upcoming dates. Thanks, and go fuck yourself. Yeah, it's the pendulum swings back and forth. I remember back in the day when we were starting all this going to war stuff, you couldn't sit there and question, like, are we really going over there for these people's freedom? Am I really supposed to believe that the way you've treated, the government has treated fucking veterans of all wars, the way that they've treated poor people, people who aren't white, and all of this shit in this country, the way they've treated their own citizens? I'm supposed to believe that you care about these people on the other side of the planet who are sitting on all of this oil, and the oil is not a factor. And I remember back then, if you fucking suggested that, that meant that you didn't support the troops, which is so insane. Why wouldn't you support your own fucking home team? And that, the whole thing is so fucking, the same fucking people that if you said, hey man, I think we're going over there for oil, they're like, America, love it or leave it, And now the vaccine comes out. Now they're like, I don't trust the government. And now why can't I be, hey, America, love it or leave it? They're saying get the vaccine. You're not getting the vaccine, you don't support the troops, right? So it's just, what it really comes down to is most people, they just fucking